You need the perseverance, you need the tenacity to be an actor, you need the sort of soul of a poet and the skin of an armadillo. It doesn't show up in a lot of people at the same time. I am Barbara Bain. I've been in this world a very long time by now. I was born right in the middle of the Depression, which meant that it was very difficult times. I became very independent very young, began to experience the best things that happened to me in childhood. The best things were the museum in Chicago that I happened to start visiting when I was 8 or 9 years old, and the library. The library, I got a library card, a yellow, very taxi cab yellow library card. It had my name on it. I loved it. I read day and night. And in those days, I was told, you can't read those books. They're boys' books. Why? Well, they were adventure books. We weren't supposed to have adventures. And I said, I'm going to read every book in this library. I'm a reader to this day. In the long run, in looking back, I can consider that every single person I ever read about in those books molded that actress in me. I went to New York to study with Martha Graham as a dancer. So I was passionate about that. I never considered myself an actress, and people kept saying, come to this acting class. And I said, I am not an actress, I am a dancer. But I wandered into this class, and I loved it. And ultimately found Lee Strasberg's class. He helped me enormously. I was in his private class as well as at the studio. And the studio has been a part of my life forever. It's a place to fall on your face, make a mistake. So the value of it is inestimable. You cannot really put a price on what that means for the actor having a place to experiment and not know the outcome. At the Actors Studio, there's always a community. Television had just burst into being in this city. At the time, they were kind of interested specifically in New York actors, trained in New York, because they knew we could learn the lines and do whatever it was. I read for a television show, I got it. I read for a film, I got it. And I read for a Broadway play, and I got it. I got all my union cards. I was running across the street getting all these cards in about 2 weeks' time. So there I was. I never had to carry a tray again as I did to get myself through college. I never did anything but act after that. I never went back to New York because we just kept working here, and Los Angeles then became home.
When I was little, a girl, every Sunday with my family, we would watch Mission Impossible. It was a family event. So I think probably most of America at that time watched Mission Impossible. And it was exciting to see a woman and a person of color, because it was a real novelty at that time.
And then from an acting class, we were all in an acting class together, along came Mission Impossible, which was written for me. Bruce Geller, who wrote it, was in that class, and he saw me up on the stage over and over. He wanted somebody who was strong-willed, who could be up there with the boys and still carry a job, and yet be attractive. So we had Cinnamon as a running character, and then every show there was a character within a character within the show. So you can't make up a part for an actress better than that. And that was just heaven. We were always very excited about the next script, what's going to be. And finally the show came out. It was a huge hit. Nobody died. It inspired a generation of women to think of themselves as, oh, I could try that. I could do that. I still get letters. Now they're very interesting because it's somebody writes to me that she was inspired to join NASA because of Cinnamon Carter, and now she's retiring. there's no question I was ecstatic to receive those Emmys, 3 in a row. It was very unusual for the show that it was so important to me. The first one, I had absolutely no idea that I would win. I didn't even hear my name. So I was sort of pushed up out of the chair and said, "That's you." And I said, "Oh." I had no speech, but I did come up with it on the way to the podium. I don't know why, but I did say, "Cinnamon just lost her cool." Then the next day I was shooting in the desert outside of Lancaster, one of the episodes, and I had blisters all over my face because I was supposed to be dying from blister, something, or being overexposed. And I was face down in the dirt with blisters, and I was laughing at myself because the night before I had just won that Emmy. I thought, that's a funny life I'm leading.
I am Sofia Vasilyeva, and I have known Barbara Bain for close to 10 years. When I first met her when I started going to the Actors Studio, she has a long-standing history of directing young theater artists in plays that they've written, and they've been brought to LA to workshop and do. So she's a mentor for young theater professionals, and I think at this point in her career, she takes a lot of pride and a lot of joy in nurturing the love of the art.
I'm directing a project soon that'll go up in one of the small theaters in LA. Gruesome Playground Injuries. That's what it's called. And Sofia Vasilyeva will be in it.
I think a lot of times with direction, there's so much going on, and you're managing such a big ship, that to actually communicate with the actor in a way that the actor can viscerally, immediately respond to and actively use what's being said is an incredible talent and skill. And she has that because she is an actor. And she has a vision for a piece, but she's also so receptive to what comes to her.
Probably my biggest achievement or thing that I feel most proud of is the storyline online, which originally was called Book Pals. And it started out as us reading to kids in the schools. And that's when I started trying to figure out, who's got a lot of time off? Okay, so it all fit with my own community. So I went first to the Screen Actors Guild board president. I said, "Do you think we're interested in anything like this?" And I went to Tom Bradley, who in 2 minutes took me down the hall to this remarkable woman who ran the LA Best program. Carla Sanger is her name. We put it all together in less than 2 months, which is quite amazing because it was just ready and right. And the actors loved doing it because they're like an audience. I went to kindergarten, first grade for about 15 years in Watts and read to the kids. Kindergarten first, that was my bunch of kids. And I just loved doing it, as did all the other readers. And we were in the schools all across America because Screen Actors have branches everywhere. So we have people everywhere. And then it morphed into the technological age. So we're not in this classroom anymore. Now you can punch in storyline online. I don't know if it was 21 million hits a month now worldwide. Pick an actor, and they'll read you a story. Chester wiped away his tears. He looked interested. A secret? What kind of secret? A very old secret, said Mrs. Raccoon. I learned it from my mother, and she learned it from hers, and it's called the kissing hand. How could I not be, I don't know what, moved and stunned and pleased that is effective, because I know how important that is to a kid to read.
Barbara Bain's been in my class since 2013-14, and it was a mutual friend that brought her in the class. Our friend said, I would like to bring my friend Barbara Bain to class because she loves to dance. And I met her in a tap class, and I told her about this class. And I said, Barbara Bain, isn't that an actress? And she said, yes. And I said, I don't think so. I said, I don't want a diva in my class. I'm the only diva that's allowed in the class. It was the first day of class. I come in, and there she is, her big, beautiful self with this big smile and her warm, kind eyes. And she said, hi, I'm Barbara, and I'm here to join your class. We hugged, and immediately we just, formed a bond.
There's no way I can possibly estimate the importance of Olivia's class in my life and who she is and what she brings. She's very unique, very special. I want to celebrate her and the fact that that's available in this emeritus college. She also has a great love of music, so she plays music from all over the world. She makes a class out of her joy.
So it ends up being one big, huge, beautiful therapy group. My dance therapy shows up in ways that are speechless. So, for example, if I would play a piece of Frank Sinatra, and I can see in their eyes and everything, them going back to a point in their time when they were young. And what happens to our bodies with cellular memory through music is that we go back to that moment. So for those 2 or 3 moments, they're not 90.
There's a community has formed, and a lot of us become very friends with each other and have every once in a while lunch together. Here, these women, we never would have found each other at this point in life. We all have very set lives that have their own dynamics. And when I think about the whole idea of an emeritus class, every city, every school should have them, because older people still need a place beyond the family, because a lot of them have lost family, or they're beyond their lives, what it has been up until now.
Barbara loves dance. Barbara's body just gets really happy when the music comes on and she starts to move. And that's why she attends my class, because it's non-threatening to any adult that has any kind of physical challenge. She's always loved dance. She has shared with me that was her first love, even before theater.
We call her BB Legend because she's a legend. Every day I see her, she's sort of manifesting her legacy in present time. So there's the legacy of all the things that she's accomplished and the awards that she's won and the tremendous character she's played and the theater that she's done. And then there's the things that she does on a daily basis, which is show up for artists or mentor young writers and young directors in the first time that they're in a theater, so that experience for them is positive, and then they have the tools to keep going in this industry and to feel like the work that they've done matters and means something, and that they can rest on that and know that they can keep going. That confidence, that creative spark that she shares with every single person she comes into contact with is a legacy.
I found a passion in life, and both in dance and theater. And I so wish everyone can find something that means that much to them, because it's such a wonderful continuum. It never stops, for me anyway.